Havana Cub followers, it's me, Kai, coming at you here from the Havana Kitchen here in Corvallis, Oregon. Today we're going to be showing you how we do our pulled pork. We use our pulled pork in our Cubanos and in our tacos, and you can have it on our macaroni and cheese. And starting next week, we're going to be doing some tamales, so you can have some pulled pork tamales. So what we're going to go through right now is a little bit of how we make this magic happen. First thing, we're going to do a little dry rub on the top of this pork. We're going to start with our salt. This is just some kosher salt. We're going to build a nice big crust. We want this to kind of hold in all the moisture and also keep that fatty juices in there, and make sure that we keep this thing nice and juicy. So we've got our kosher salt here. Now we've got our granulated onion. And again, we're just building a really big crust on this. When it comes out of the oven, you're gonna see this. And what it does after it comes out of the oven in 6 hours, it's also going to be the seasoning for the meat, so that I don't have to pre-season it after that. So and here we have some granulated garlic, and again, we're just continuing to build layers of flavor in the crust of this pork. And since we are Cuban, we can't go without our oregano and our basil. These are Cuban seasonings that have been part of the heritage of the Cuban cooking. So, you know, we want to keep this rustic and have that theme of flavors. So we've got the oregano and the basil. And then you can never go wrong with a little black pepper. Again, as you can see, we're building these layers of flavor, which once the pork gets completely cooked and it breaks down and we start pulling it, this is going to be our seasoning base. This is going to season the whole entire pork once it's finished. Now we're going to move on to our braising liquid. A braising process is something that's used for slow cooking. You pretty much immerse the pork or any meat that you have in some different liquids so that it's almost a poaching process. It infuses the meat with moisture. It keeps it moist as you're slow cooking. So what we're going to do now is we're going to build our braising liquid. I'm going to start with some beef stock, which is also going to be a flavoring element. And we want this pork to relax a little bit. And I know it's a time for like the coronavirus and we all just need to relax. You know, sometimes a glass of wine, maybe a glass of beer, we relax. Well, this guy's going in the oven in a minute and I think it needs to relax. So we're gonna give him a little bit of beer. This adds flavor. It also helps tenderize the meat. And well, like I said, it needs to relax. So hitting it with a little bit of beer. Now we want to flavor this broth because what's going to happen when it comes out of the oven is I'm going to let it kind of I'm gonna let it relax a little bit on its own when it comes out. So what it's gonna do when it rests is it's gonna start drinking these juices up. It's gonna be drinking up all this braising liquid, and so we want to make it even more flavorful. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm adding, this is roasted garlic. So with this roasted garlic, it's going to continue to infuse itself into our braising liquid as it slow cooks for the next 6 hours. And again, we're going to be introducing some other flavor elements. We've got some bay leaf, which is also used in a lot of traditional Cuban dishes. So we're going to be adding a few of these in here strategically. So moving forward, what I want to do now is I'm going to go ahead and get this covered. Get our oven turned on to low and 275 degrees. So we want this thing to cook slow and low. And like my mom used to say, this little piggy went to the market. Well, this little piggy came from the market. Now it's going to go wee, 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 all the way into the oven for the next 6 hours. So when you see me next, we're going to be taking this thing out of the oven, and it's going to be juicy and ready to be pulled apart. Thanks for checking us out. Hey, welcome back to the Havana Kitchen. Your personal chef Kai here 6 hours later. We're pulling out our pork, and let me tell you, it's smelling amazing. We had a lot of third-party vendors, Grubhub and Munchies people coming down, and they were just like, man, this place smells amazing. So here we are for the unveiling of our delicious pulled pork. A little steamy, a little crusty, a little yummy. I'll make sure to take all those little crunchies off, but hopefully you spent the last 6 hours enjoying some time with your family, hanging out and relaxing. So, like I was mentioning earlier, this crust is what is going to kind of season the meat along with the braising liquid. And as it starts to relax a little bit, it just keeps sucking in those juices. But what we're going to do right now is dig right in and start pulling this apart. Look at this. All this yummy goodness just pulling apart. And then that, like I was saying earlier, that crust is also seasoning the broth, it's seasoning the meat, and making everything super delicious. It's a little warm right now, but in a few minutes it'll have that opportunity to kind of soak in all these natural juices and the seasonings and the flavors that we introduced into the top of it. But that's what I'm talking about. And again, we use this pork in our street tacos. We use it in our Cuban sandwiches. And starting next week, we're going to be using it in our tamales. It's a very versatile, but it's very, what I would call home style. So if you want to try some of this delicious pulled pork, follow our links below, and you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, on Munchies or Grubhub, and you can find our menu and take our great pulled pork for a taste drive. I want to thank you all for your support and for looking out for all of our local restaurants, and hopefully soon I'll be able to see you in person, but until then, please feel free to give us an order, and you'll see me live walking up to your car door and delivering some great Havana food. So until I see you again, like Porky Pig says, Badia, 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 badia. That's all, folks.